Girlies, I hope you all are doing amazing. So today's video, we're gonna be painting a thrifted jacket. I want to start making this a video series on YouTube where I thrift jackets and I start painting them. And this is a way for you guys to get to know me. You can ask me certain questions in the comments section, but every video I'm gonna have like a topic, maybe about like thrifting tips, life tips, makeup tips, anything that you guys want to talk about. But I think for this video, I'm gonna make it very flexible to where I'm talking about thrifting tips and life tips of how I started Thrift Girlie and what my whole vision is for my company and for myself and how I want to connect with you guys. But yeah, let's get started. I know on this channel that I promote most of my thrifting business and my passion for thrifting, but I never really talk about being an artist. I've been really focusing on thrifting lately, that I've been kind of neglecting the artist side of me, of being creative with painting. And I'm known for painting abstract art and just really trying out different creative stuff. My art really incorporates a lot of black colors, a lot of abstract lines. Flowers are like one of my favorite things to draw. So I think what would be fun is just experimenting with this thrifted leather jacket and painting on it. Since it is fall, I did get some fall color paint and I did practice drawing one of the flowers I want to draw on this jacket. So the flower is going to be something like this. I didn't finish painting it because it is pretty tedious, and I'd rather spend the time painting this on the jacket. But just practicing on this, I knew that the flower would look good. And then I got these paints for, I think they're for leather. Yeah, they're leather paints. I've practiced with these a ton and they're really great. So the first color, I got a light brown, it's called Saddle. And this one is called Burgundy. And it's like kind of like dark purple, I don't know, I guess burgundy. The next one is called Play in the Sand, and this is like an off-color white. And I got like a autumn red. I love this color red. It does work perfectly for the fall season. And then I got this like sage green that's called Avocado. And then the last one I got is called Mustard, and I thought this was like a great darker yellow for fall. So now I'm gonna work on prepping the area, doing like the first layer of paint, and then we'll talk about a few things. Okay, so right now I'm painting the first year, but I thought that I would go ahead and start talking about certain things. So let me just go ahead and put this paint out and then we'll get into it. Okay, so I thought I would talk about Thrift Girlie and like how I started the business and why I decided to name it Thrift Girlie, what is my mission, my goal, stuff like that. So I started Thrift Girlie probably about a year ago. I was going through a lot of stuff personally. I decided to stop drinking for like 8 months, and because it was causing so many issues throughout my life. I was always really rebellious when I was younger, and I don't know, I guess instead of dealing with my own problems, I decided to be that like party girl like in high school, in college, and I went to one of the biggest party schools, and I just never had like a healthy relationship with alcohol. Only around like 2 years ago, I started noticing just like some really bad habits, some demons coming out, and I was just sick of living that way. I messed up one night, got super drunk, and you know, that was the last time. I just had it. I knew I had to change and change my lifestyle. I knew that was going to be hard, but I knew I was finally ready to do it. I didn't want to hurt people I loved anymore. I didn't want to become that type of person, and I decided to stop drinking. So during this time I decided to start drinking. It was around like 8 months, And when you're going through something like this big of a life change, like for me, this was hell, and being in a social situation was hell, and being around people, it was so hard. During this 8 months, I had to find things that I would like to do that didn't involve drinking. So I got really into thrifting. I was always really into thrifting and fashion. I never like took it seriously, like thinking that I could create a business out of it. And I started going every single weekend, and I couldn't stop. I was obsessed with it. I like wanted to style all these new outfits. All my life, I was always trying to find this creative outlet, and I had my art, but it wasn't always consistent. But with thrifting, it was so consistent, and I was like, finally I thought this could be something, and I just gave it my all, and I still am. And that's where Thrift Girlie came about. It was during a time where I was finding myself, finding out new ways to live, and starting to love myself again. If I wasn't going through that rough patch, I would have never found thrifting and my new passion. What made me start to style people and like create Thrift Style Bundle? I started thrifting a ton of stuff, and I mean now I just don't have any room for the stuff that I keep thrifting. And then I thought about it, and I was like, what happens if you would like to style people? Because I constantly throughout my life, I had people tell me that they loved my style. I always have like unique stuff, and to me, I always felt like styling was like one of my gifts. It was easy for me to style like different outfits and try different styles as well. And I knew that thrifting could be an outlet for me. And when I got my first Thrift Style Bundle, Vivica from work, thank you Vivica, was my first Thrift Style Bundle. And when I started thrifting for her, I was hooked. I started loving like thrifting for people more than for myself. And that's when I knew that I had to like make this something that I'm into. And I use social media a lot to kind of put Thrift Girlie out there, my business. And I'm not gonna lie, it's really tough, especially from starting a brand from scratch. Very, very tough. And I'm actually social media manager at my full-time job right now. And let me tell you, there's been so many times that I was like, oh, I suck at this. I went to college for this. Like, how am I so bad? But because a lot of the accounts I've had, they've already had an established brand and audience and following, and Thrift Girlie, I had to start from the ground. So I felt like it was always so hard to do. And now I feel like I finally got into a place that people are starting to understand what Thrift Girlie is, what the mission is, and I'm starting to build an audience, and it's such a good feeling. But what I've learned is that you just gotta keep going, stay consistent, stay confident. And I think that has to be really internal. Like for me, it took me, I'm 31 now, it took me 30 years to figure out how to stay confident in myself without needing validation from others. And I think that's really hard, and congratulations to you if you've gotten that like a really young age, like in your 20s. But for me, I had a lot of trauma throughout my life, and a lot of people have hurt me that took me a long time to quiet down those voices and listen to my inner truth and understand who I am. I don't think I would be able to start this business and be consistent, confident, and creative without figuring that out first. Another thing I want to talk about is the name Thrift Girlie. I decided to name my company Thrift Girlie because I kept using the term Thrift Girlie. Like I kept saying like, oh, there's Thrift Girlies, I'm a Thrift Girlie, oh, where are my Thrift Girlies at? So I decided to start using that, and I use the term girly a ton because I am a girly girl. I love fashion, I love pink, I love glitter, I love sequin. I just love anything that is girly to me. So I decided to name my business from something that I resonate with, because this company is my baby. It is coming from my soul and like who I am, and Thrift Girlie is who I am. And since you guys don't really know who I am, I guess I should tell you guys a little bit about myself. I've lived in West Virginia and North Carolina most of my life. And then my husband and I moved to Denver, Colorado, probably around like 6 years ago. When we first visited Denver, we just did like a little trip. I think it was my first time flying as an adult. I flew a lot as a baby. I was obsessed with Denver just because of how it made me feel. It made me feel safe. I love the friendly people. I love the creativity. I live in Rhino, one of my favorite neighborhoods in the city, and the street art is just amazing. The atmosphere, the people. And when I first came here, I was just obsessed. I had to be here. So we wanted to move here so bad, and that was like our goal for a very long time. Once we moved, I got a social media job at multiple places, and now I have a pretty good secure social media job, and I've been in social media for a while, and it's been pretty great. But now I'm starting to figure out like my passions and what I want to do in my future, and that's still really to be determined, but I know that Thrift Girlie is in my future, and that's something I continuously want to work on growing. I am half Korean and Caucasian white. My mom is the Korean one, and my dad is fair skinned with red hair, green eyes, so I look nothing like him. Yeah, being Korean is something I'm really proud of. Other things that are really important to me, I am a cat mom. I have Desi, who we've had for around 9 years, and he is my baby boy. And then I did have another cat, his name was Onyx, and he passed away probably around, just crazy, 8 months ago. Since Onyx was my baby, I still deal with the grief pretty hard. But Onyx was like the sun in our life and just such a joy to be around. I am still dealing with the grief and something I'll still have to work on. He was my baby. He still is my baby. People that have experienced pet loss, it's fucking hell. Yeah, that's something I'm still dealing with. And if you're dealing with grief, I pray for you, because it is painful. I mean, pet loss or any type of loss is, but I guess I feel a lot more grief than I usually do because he was my baby. But let's move on. I know I talked a little bit about not drinking, but I do want to talk about self-help tips that really help me grow into the person I am. And I do want to state that I am not perfect. I mean, we all know this, that we're all not perfect, but I don't want to say that like just because I figured this out that I always practice it. I'm just trying my best, you know? When I first started my self-help journey, I always kind of knew there was like trauma throughout my life, but I never really dealt with it. It was just like deep down inside me. And then when I turned 24, I think that's when it started showing, like especially when I drank, it showed. And then like I started having depression really bad. I couldn't even get out of bed. My anxiety was so bad, I couldn't even deal with it. And that's where I realized that I needed to change my life and get help. And it took me years to figure this shit out. I'm not gonna lie. I remember I went to my first therapy session, and I was just, and I think it was free through the university, and I was so depressed, and all this stuff just started coming out, and I just couldn't believe myself. Like, why can't I get myself together? Like, why can't I go to work? And I was kind of like an overachiever. Like, I had 3 jobs and I was in school full time, and I was just trying my best, but I was just like, what is going on? Why am I this insecure? Are these like past life moments like happening, like coming up for me? It was just hell. And I think it was just a sign, like my body was showing me that I can no longer keep this in, especially if I wanted to become the person that I've always wanted to be. So I had to start going to therapy consistently, and in some of the relationships that I had, like friendships, relationships with my family weren't okay because there was no boundaries set, and they were hurting my feelings, and I didn't know how to process or deal with it. And I had to learn how to cut people out, tell people the truth, set boundaries, understand that like I'm not perfect and it's okay not to be hard on yourself. It took me a while to figure it out, and I feel like now I know what to do when I have like a depression episode. There is a ton of tools to help you. It's okay to ask for help. Just make sure that you're telling the right people, because you don't want to be insecure about who you tell. You gotta make sure you trust the person that you confide in. And that's one thing I learned, is that, yeah, it's okay to ask for help, but make sure this person has the capacity to deal with something like this and the empathy to understand how you're feeling. I love this paint. It's so smooth on the jacket. So right now I'm just doing some like abstract lines, kind of like the layering that I always do. It's one of my favorite things to do. And now I'm going in with a second layer to make sure that it's not opaque and you can't see through the paint. I definitely recommend this kind of paint for leather jackets. And I figured that I would talk about how this year has been going for me. So other than me starting Thrift Girlie, I had my wedding in June. We had some friends' weddings that were really beautiful. This has probably been one of the toughest years of my life. I just feel like this year I had to grow up a ton, and it seems like a lot of things aren't going our way for Austin and I, and it's honestly really hard. It's so hard when you're dealing with so many facets of your life not going right. It's hard to express that to people, to talk about it, and then I'm showing people online that I'm all happy and doing this business and I'm all dressed up, but to be honest, in reality, this has been probably one of the toughest years of my life. And I don't know, any advice that I could give is just to keep going. Like, things will get better. I just keep going. I keep trying to be consistent with Thrift Girlie, and I always remind myself what my goals are, just because you can get lost in being so unhappy in your life that you can forget that things can change pretty quickly for you. I don't know, I just wanted to tell you guys that I'm not always happy. I cry a lot. I don't know what I'm always doing, and I think that's just a part of life. It's okay to voice that, especially because on social media, everyone thinks I'm like so happy, perfect. I always have my makeup done. Like, this is honestly what I look like most of my life. Probably like 70% of my life, because I don't know, and I look like I'm in middle school with these socks on, this shirt, it's all like ripped up, and sweatpants, but this is my comfort outfit and this is like who I am. I don't want to sugarcoat that stuff from you guys. I want to be like upfront and real. What you see on social media truly is not real, and I think if you can keep that mentality that social media isn't real, that everyone's going through stuff, we can all have a little bit more compassion for each other. Okay, so let me move this up. So I drew on the flower, and now I'm gonna do some more pattern designs that I usually do. And then I'm gonna talk about some thrift tips, because I did promise you guys that in the beginning of this video. So one thrift tip that I always tell people when they ask me like, how do I find such good stuff? I always go early. And when I say early, I go when the thrift store opens. So I have a select few of thrift stores that are my favorite, and if I'm going to that one, I'm going right when it opens to beat the other thrift girlies, because I need to shop for the best stuff for my clients. So I tried to go super early. The next thrift tip I'm gonna give you guys, when I do go, I know that I'm gonna be trying on like so many different things. So I always try to wear spandex when I go. Thrift store that I go to, they actually don't have dressing rooms, so you have to change in front of the mirror. So it's a little awkward, but I get used to it. So I try on the clothes over my spandex clothes, and that just makes it so much easier than trying to guess to see if it works. The next tip I'm gonna give you guys, and this is probably the last one because I want to spread these out for different videos, is that I always bring a tape measure. I think that's really important that you bring one, especially like right now with the thrift style bundles. Like, everyone is such a different size and shape, and it's important to get their correct size, which I'm still learning how to do that, and just to make you feel more confident about what items you're getting and what really fits you, especially if you don't want to try it on. Like, bring a tape measure. It is so much easier than trying on clothes or just guessing, so you don't waste your money. So bring that as well. Okay, I am taking a break from painting because I have some other things to do. So this is probably going to take me 2 more days, so I'll film on those days as well. I'm so excited how it looks so far. I think it looks pretty good. I'm more excited to do the flower because I think that will make the whole jacket like really stand out. Yeah, thank you for listening to me today, and then I'll see you on day 2. Hi Thrift Girlies. The last clips that you saw, I painted the flower, but that day I did not feel like talking. I think it was after work and I was just exhausted. But now we're gonna try to finish the jacket to where it is wearable and the art is finished. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, so I thought I would talk about art and how I started painting and like getting into being an artist. I, at a young age, always drew and painted like little fairies and stuff, and like for hours I would be in my room. I think it was a way for me to like escape. My senior year of high school, I started getting into art again because I hated high school so much. I did not have the best experience. Art was like right after lunch, and for me it was like so therapeutic. I would get a white sheet of paper and a Sharpie and just color it all out with abstract lines, flowers, and it would just make me feel good. And I noticed that it was a little weird how natural it felt, and I felt like I was finally kind of good at something. Because all my life I never really felt good at anything. So after doing this for a long while, my teacher like came up to me, my art teacher, and said to me like, you know, you can go to school for this. And that just blew my mind because I was never very studious. Kids would actually call me dumb because I would never really apply myself. But I think a part of that is that I actually did believe that I was dumb, that I wasn't special, that I didn't have anything that was like mine that I was good at. When he told me that I was good at art and that I could go to school for it, this blew my mind. It changed my whole life, that sentence that he said to me. And I think about that moment all the time because he wasn't like my favorite teacher or anything. I truly do believe like the things you say to people can change people's lives, and that sentence that he said to me changed my life forever. I changed my whole college career. I think I was gonna go to school for like hair. I didn't even like want to go to school for hair. I just like didn't know like what to do. I asked my dad if I can go to college. I know I sound very privileged, but I did pay for most of college myself, but I had no idea like what college really meant. But I knew that I had this feeling that I needed to go to school there for art. I got into West Virginia University for art and design, and that's where I started my art journey. So after starting my art journey is when I was taking like drawing classes. I started creating like my own unique style. I would have to say it's taken me a while to like figure out my style. I'm 31 now, and it took me probably like 5 years ago to like figure out what type of style I want to work with and stick with, and what really is authentic to me. I feel like you can be inspired by so many different things, but you can try a style of art and it might not be something that you resonate with. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out my style, but I think going to art school for like 2 years really did challenge me, and like it put me in a room full of creative people that think differently but also think alike. It was so refreshing to be with a group of people that I feel like we're all like creative outcasts and people have never really understood us, but we were like a team. Like we all try to help out each other, and it was so nice like making friends throughout the art school. That was probably one of my favorite experiences through college. After college, I kind of stopped doing art because I did switch my major to marketing and I minored in art. To me, like I was trying to start my career in marketing and social media where I kind of stopped doing art, but I noticed that every single time I stopped painting or trying to do something creative, my mental state wasn't good. Like it would always go down until I start painting or doing something creative again. It just has always been such a release for me, especially at such a young age. Now I've done like paintings, I've done a mural. It's just been something that I love to do like on the side to make myself happy. I do art for me and no one else. What I learned throughout my art experience is that I've had a lot of creative blocks, a lot of realizations of like what mediums I like to work on and what I don't work on, and I resonate most with painting on physical like canvas, obviously clothing. I love doing spray painting, and I will say like if you are an artist, like keep going and like go at your own pace. There's some people that are so talented and figure it out when they're super young, but it took me a while to like figure out what I resonate with. And once I stopped having that thought in my head that I need to be like this type of artist, I need to be better at this, I need to be better at drawing specific things, It's so freeing, and I swear my art is so much better because I stopped letting myself care about those little things. So I really do hope that I keep this venture of drawing on thrifted clothes, because that really does combine my two loves. We'll see how it goes. Here is the jacket reveal. I'm really happy with how it looks and how it turned out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Okay, Thrift Girlies, so that is it for this video. I hope you guys liked getting to know me, my business, and things I care about lately a little bit more. And I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like, subscribe, share this video, and sign up for a Thrift Style Bundle if you guys are interested. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Mwah.